What is a phrase? A phrase is a small group of words that go together. A phrase is never a complete sentence, and a phrase never has a subject and a verb. Phrases generally function as one part of speech. Some phrases act as adjectives, describing a noun in the sentence. Other phrases function as adverbs, describing a verb or perhaps an adjective in the sentence. Still other phrases act as nouns and might be the subject or object in a sentence. Phrases add information and variety to your writing. We talked briefly about verb phrases when we talked about verbs and helping verbs. There are several kinds of common phrases. Prepositional phrases. So prepositional phrases, as mentioned before, talk about time and place. So we talked about prepositional phrases in the first chapter. Prepositional phrases, prepositions always appear in phrases, which all have pretty much the same structure. Preposition, noun, or pronoun. Prepositional phrases tell when and sometimes where, how, or what kind of something happening. Prepositional phrases function as either adjectives or adverbs. The important thing to know about prepositional phrases is where to put them in the sentence. And prepositional phrases can be put in the beginning of the sentence, the middle of the sentence, or the end of the sentence. Here are some examples of adverbial prepositional phrases. I put it on the table. On the table answers where. So the phrase functions as an adverb describing put. She is at school. At school tells where and modifies the verb is. During the movie, the baby cried. So during the movie tells when and describes the verb cried. So when the prepositional phrase describes the verb, like in this, during the movie, the baby cried, this is how we use a phrase as an adverb. At school, when it tells where and when and it modifies the verb is, then this is a phrase, or this is a prepositional phrase used as an adverb. So here are some examples of adjectival prepositional phrases. She wore the dress with stripes. With stripes is a prepositional phrase, and with stripes tells what kind of dress. So the phrase functions as an adjective. This is the new book by J.K. Rowling. By J.K. Rowling tells which book. So the phrase functions as an adjective. The flag of the United States is red, white, and blue. Of the United States is a prepositional phrase, and of the United States it modifies which flag we're talking about, like from which country. So therefore, since it modifies flag, therefore the prepositional phrase functions as an adjective describing flag. I slept on the chair. So on the chair is the prepositional phrase modifying where you slept. After dinner, wash the dishes. And so after dinner is the prepositional phrase telling you when you wash the dishes. So that's how you could tell what is a prepositional phrase. Prepositional phrase always tells where and when something happens. Infinitive phrases. First of all, there are infinitive phrases and there are plain old infinitives. Infinitives are pretty easy to understand. An infinitive is a verb with the word to in front of it. So to go, to be, to sleep, to eat, to walk. Those are all infinitives. So an infinitive is always to plus the root form of the verb. But it doesn't always function as a verb. Yeah, so infinitives can function. So we have to plus the verb. That's an infinitive. But an infinitive can function as a noun. It can function as an object. So here's some infinitive, and you can have also infinitive phrases. So basically, an infinitive is to plus a verb. And so here, an infinitive can function as a noun. So the to in front of an infinitive is not a preposition. So don't get an infinitive confused with a prepositional phrase. If a verb comes after to, you have an infinitive. If a noun or pronoun comes after to, then it is a preposition. I want to jump. That's an infinitive. I jumped to the ground. That's a preposition. Back to infinitives. An infinitive can be used by itself in a sentence. However, if you add some words to it, it becomes an infinitive phrase. So, I like to write quickly. So, to write quickly, to write is an infinitive because you have to plus the verb. And then here, the infinitive is being used as an object because you have subject, verb, object. So anything that comes after the verb like so this is an infinitive phrase used as an object. So to write is an infinitive, and to write quickly is the entire phrase. Phrase versus a clause. A clause has a subject and a verb. A phrase is just a group of words with no subject and a verb. So when you have to write quickly, this is known as an infinitive phrase. And so here you have an infinitive phrase used as an object. I like to write quickly. So that's known as an infinitive phrase used as an object. So notice that write is no longer a verb. The verb in the sentence is like. Since to write quickly tells you what you like, it is actually the direct object, a noun. So basically all this says is this is being used as a direct object because it comes after like, the verb. To be an actor is my greatest ambition. Here, to be an actor is an infinitive phrase used as a subject. Here you have an infinitive phrase used as an object, and here you have an infinitive phrase used as a subject. So to be is the infinitive, and then to be an actor is the entire infinitive phrase, and it's being used as a subject. Thus, it's functioning as a noun. So that's what I was saying. To be an actor, subject, is, verb, my greatest ambition, object, subject, verb, object. So here you have an infinitive phrase used as a subject. I is the subject, want is the verb, to go to the movies is the object. So here you have an infinitive phrase used as an object. So it's easy to use infinitives and infinitive phrases correctly because infinitive phrases can be used as both a subject and an object. Participial phrases. Oh yeah, so let's do some. To be an astronaut. So this is an infinitive phrase used as a subject. I want to read that new book. So to read that new book is an infinitive phrase used as an object. I cannot decide whether to see the new movie or the concert. So since it comes after the verb decide, then this is an infinitive object. Participial phrases. Participles, like infinitives, come from verbs, but they are now adjectives. There are two kinds of participles, present and past. A present participle is formed by adding ing to a verb, running, jumping, thinking, reading. Here are some sentences using present participles or participial phrases. Notice that they are used as adjectives. Running quickly, I got to school late anyway. So running quickly is a present participle, and here it's, so running is the participle, and it describes the pronoun I. And so here it's the present participle is being used as an adjective. Dad driving the car wasn't listening. Driving is the participle, and it describes the noun dad. So driving the car, who's driving the car? Dad's driving the car. So this is also known as a reduced adjective clause. And so here you have a reduced adjective clause, and it's known as a present participle also, and it's a present participle that's modifying the noun dad. The hopping bunny was so cute. Hopping is the participle, and it describes bunny. So here you have a present participle used as an adjective to describe bunny. So can you tell the difference between running in these sentences? Running for the bus. he tripped and fell. He was running for the bus when he tripped and fell. So which sentence is using running as a verb? He was running. Here you have running used as a past progressive. So he was running for the bus when he tripped and fell. Whereas this one, running for the bus, he tripped and fell, this is a present participle used as an adjective. So this is a participial phrase used as an adjective to modify he. Okay, so here you have it. It's also known as a reduced adjective clause because you could say, while he was running for the bus, he tripped and fell. So it's the same thing as a reduced adjective clause, or it's a present participle phrase used as an adjective. In any case, this one's not a verb. This is a participle being used as an adjective to modify he. Answer. In the first sentence, running is a participle that describes he. In the second sentence, running is not a participle. It is a verb, a past progressive tense. Did you figure it out? Yeah, it was pretty obvious. You just look at it. Past participle. A past participle is formed by using the form of the verb that you would use with the present perfect tense. That is the one using the helping verb have or has. Have written, has written, have burned, have seen, has run, have baked, has baked. So when you use the present perfect tense of the past participle, and you use it as an adjective, and you could use it as an adjective or a subject, but mainly use it as an adjective. Here are some sentences using past participles, that is, participial phrases, as adjectives. Written quickly. My essay didn't get a very good grade. So written is the participle, and it describes the noun essay. We noticed the burned building as we drove by. Burned is the participle, and it describes the noun building. Baked to a perfect brown. The crust was delicious. Baked is the participle, and it describes the noun crust. And so here is how we conjugate the verb the way we would present perfect tense. So have written. And then if you use the participle, the past participle, as an adjective, then that's known as a past participial phrase, or a reduced past participial adjective phrase, if you want to. So as you will read about it in section 11.4, if you aren't careful, you can run into problems with participial phrases. And students run into problems with participial phrases when they use it, either make mistakes with a dangling modifier or misplaced modifier. So we're going to go over that in, section 11.4. And if you have a dangling or misplaced modifier, your sentence won't make sense. And sometimes writers overlook these. Written quickly, I didn't get a very good grade on my essay. We know that written quickly is an adjective, but what is it describing? Generally, in the English language, things are assumed to belong to words that are placed near them. Written quickly, I, and therefore the rewritten sentence says that I was written quickly, not the essay. So it is incorrect. So we have a misplaced modifier or a dangling modifier. So here, are you the one that suddenly you become a piece of paper and someone's going to write a paper on your face? See, that's where it's wrong. So written quickly does not refer to I. Written quickly refers to essay. So therefore, this essay needs to be put over here. So yeah, that is a misplaced modifier. Written quickly, the essay did not receive a good grade or something like that. Written quickly, the essay did not get, that would be the correct answer to that question. So identifying participles. Let's see. And then you have another one. Gerundial phrases. Gerunds look like present participles. They have the form of a verb with ing added to the end. However, where participles function as adjectives, gerunds function as nouns. They can be subjects or objects in a sentence. Here are some examples of gerunds and gerundial phrases. And so when you have a gerund looks like a verb, because in a verb you would say, he was running to the store. And then you would say, but running is my favorite hobby, or shopping is my favorite hobby. I like shopping. And so skiing is a subject. Therefore, this is a gerund. And when you have an ing word that's used as a noun, or an ing word that's used as an object, then it is a noun. When the ing word is used as an adjective, then it is a present or a past participle. Actually, a past participle is an ed word used as an adjective. And so here with gerund, let's forget about that for a second. Let's focus on gerunds. So gerunds can be used as a subject, or it could be used as an object. I love skiing as much as you do. Skiing is a gerund and is the direct object of the verb love. What is it that you love? You love skiing. I have read many books about skiing. Skiing is a gerund and is the object of the preposition. Don't worry too much about gerunds, especially if you're not an ESL or an ELL student. It's English as a second language students have to worry about gerunds, but more than native speakers. For native speakers, gerunds come naturally. They're just nice to know about, but it's not difficult. Native speakers don't usually make mistakes with gerunds. For instance, ESL students will say, I love to skiing as much as you do. And so for ESL students, you have to tell them not to put the word to or the. But American speakers, once they reread out loud their essays, oh, that doesn't sound right, and we'll fix it. So gerunds are not a problem for native speakers. They're just nice to know about. It's nice to know all of your parts of speech so that you can diagram out your sentences. So here, gerund or participle. Running around the track, I was out of breath. Running around the track, and then here, which one is a gerund? So I know that number 2, running is a great exercise. That is a gerund. So running around the track is a present participle because it's an adjective that modifies I. What exactly was I doing? I was running around the track. So when you have an ing word that acts as an adjective, then it is a participle. If you have the ing word that's a subject or an object, then it is a gerund. While I was running, I saw a burning building. While I was running, this is past progressive, I saw a burning building. So burning is a participle that acts as an adjective that modifies building. Closing her book, she thought about how much she loved to read. So who closed the book? She did. So closing her book modifies she, so therefore it's a participle. Did you finish writing yet? So finish is a verb, and writing is the object. So therefore, if you have an ing word as a subject or an object, it is a gerund. My job consists of reading and writing. Of reading and writing are objects of a preposition. Therefore, it is a gerund. Lying in the sun modifies she, so it is a participle. So you get the idea. It's very easy. A few words about appositives. An appositive is a word or group of words or phrase that describes a noun or pronoun, comes right before it. Here are some examples of appositives. My sister Ellen is visiting next week. So Ellen is describing sister. Ellen, my older sister, is visiting next week. So my older sister is an appositive phrase describing Ellen. My company, SWT Publications, is expanding to 2 new locations. So SWT Publications is an appositive that describes my company. My neighbor across the street is a positive that describes Joe Clark. And then something that's not in this chapter is that these appositives are also known as reduced adjective phrases. Ellen, who is my older sister, is visiting next week. My company, which is SWT Publications, is expanding to 2 new locations. Joe Clark, who is my neighbor across the street. So, if you add in the who is, which is, that is, then they become relative adjective clauses. And then if you take out the who is, which is, then it becomes the reduced adjective clause or an appositive. So I think I went through all of that in the blue adjective book, in the blue grammar book, blue Azar book, and chapter 19 or something like that. So my sister Jean. So when you use an appositive, okay, usually you want to use 2 commas. My sister Jean is the oldest of the 6 of us. Mr. Green, a psychology professor. So a psychology professor, that's the appositive. He gave me a gift, a pearl necklace. A pearl necklace is the appositive. This book, one of my favorites. So one of my favorites is the appositive. These pizza toppings, peppers and olives, are not my favorite. So peppers and olives are the appositives that describe pizza toppings. So that looks a little strange. So that looks like that's the end of chapter 3. As soon as I get to the chapter 3 test, I know that I'm at the end of this chapter, and then that would be the end of this video. So if you have any questions, so this whole video is about phrases. So if you have any questions, you can email me anytime.